Hello, good morning, and welcome to my video again. And I try to speak English to improve my speaking, and hopefully it will become better. It will become better. I think I will make this video not really different with as the topic not really different compared to the previous ones, but at least still I make an improvement here. Okay, the problem is I want to share my problem when come to speaking. I think that the main problem is about the pronunciation, and of course about the grammar and fluency also become very challenging to me. But pronunciations is quite obviously noticed by people who listens what I said. So basically, it's quite important. And I don't have the best method to learn pronunciations, but still I guess that I become more aware of it. And the problem is when I use the word of verb be is quite sometimes I mistaken the word, and people easily notice my mistake. So I need to improve about that. And the another thing that I realize is to improve my vocabularies when speaking. I think that I already understand a lot of vocabularies, but mostly I got them from reading. So basically, to actualize these words into the speakings, quite hard for me, and I think it needs time to to practice and become used to it. And if I learn hard enough and sustains my lessons, I guess that I can improve even my speaking can more than intermediate. It become upper intermediate, even advanced speaking a speaker, which is something that hopefully I want to achieve before I become like English tutor or a teacher in English, something like that. And yeah, because I think it's very important to speak fluently before you teach students, because it's really look that I have a good experience in English. I think it become more easy for me only to read a question than answer it. And yeah, I think this is what I want to do because I ran out of topic actually. It seems like I don't know what I want to talk about in this kind of video, but still, I just keep talking in the 20 minutes or more. So basically, I can practice. And yeah, there are many questions from this not book, but this book, and that's very easy for me to learn, and I love it very much. So I think it's very helpful. Even though I don't answer the question correctly, because sometimes my mind just wander into the somewhere else. If I got the question about this, but I answered about that, and so on. So it's quite hard to maintain one idea without feel distressing. I think it's distressing, not the good word, but it stay focused on the question is quite challenging. I think I need another words beside the challenging, difficult, and hard, because this synonym quite I use it very often. So basically, I want to use something else. That not really common, because it enrich my vocabularies, right? And yeah, the problem when I speak is to maintain eye contact with the person in front of me. This is the problem that I got noticed by my friends and tutor regularly, and the things that I need to improve. I think I use the word that very much when I'm speaking. But well, I quite love it because it seems like very nice to say that. But I think I need to use another word like which. I mean, it's also kind of conjunction. So I like use lot. I mean, because it use verb we here. So I need to practice the word of we, which is quite challenging. Okay. However. Yeah, however, I love the word however. Yeah, I have a friend, I call it Niken. Probably I'm already told you about this friend. She speaks very well because she, attains a debate community when she was in senior high school, and I guess Niken is one of the best member in a global English when in the term of speaking, because she delivered the idea very clear, and he have this he has this she has this range of vocabularies that when we say that lexical research very well. I mean, sometimes she say the words that very uncommon to hear, but we obviously still understand. But still, I think it's kind of great. And even one of my tutor, my previous tutor here in a global English said that Ken, he kind of feel insecure to teach this young woman because she use wide range of the vocabularies or lexical research. So I think that she is great, and she already took the IELTS test. And yeah, I think I just got to the question, right? To answer the question, and after that, we see what will happen. Okay, the first question I think is about globalization. Of course, it's very nice topic. What the globalization is? I mean, when we hear about globalization, our mind always wondering about foods like junk foods, because globalization help these kind of foods to to become a common everywhere in the part of the world. So basically, burger and kebab and pizza become a regular food here in Indonesia. I mean, you easily find this kind of foods in the whether on the streets, or they have their own cafeteria, something like that, and probably you cook them in your house. So basically, it's not part of Indonesian culture anyway. However, still, people have well known to eat this kind of food. So basically, I think it's part of the globalization. And remember about the Coca-Cola and a Pepsi is also, is foreign company that sell their drinks or goods here in the country, and they sell very well. So it's quite popular here. So people drink it a lot. I mean, it's part of the globalization. Besides, of course, there are not only about the consumerism about the products, but also about the value of society. People become more individualistic these days because the value come from the Western, and we admire very much this kind of value, and then we follow this value and we become part of it. I mean, it's very interesting, but it doesn't mean that a country like Indonesia only follows the customs, culture, and value from the global south or global north, like American or Europe. I think that the people there, they also understand and well knowledge about the value of the people in the south. So basically, they try our foods, and it's very interesting because when the tourists got here, they they love to teach nasi goreng or rendang or something like that, and become quite popular overseas, not only here in Indonesia. So basically, globalization is something good. I believe it. Even is more make us become vulnerable when it comes to the pandemic. You know that when we travel a lot from one place to another place, so it's very easy to share any disease to to people who live probably don't have any immune system about the bacteria or the virus. Of course, we not talk about it lot of about the globalization and something like that. And I think I will answer the question about the globalization. What are the major difference between your country and other nations? Well, for it's a very nice perspective, and I believe that every country or nation is unique. So basically, they have their own characteristic that makes them become different with each others. I mean, Indonesia is a big country. I mean, it's the fourth populous country in the world. The people itself more than 200 millions, and also the islands of Indonesia lays between India Oceans to the Pacific Oceans, which is it's a large number of islands. So basically, Indonesia is one of the big country when compared to the islands. So and there are many diversity in Indonesia in terms of not only culture but animals and plants. I mean, that some animals and plants you never find it somewhere else except in Indonesia, and this is make Indonesia is unique in my opinion. And also, of course, when it comes to the beauty, every country have their own beauty. I mean, but still, Indonesia I think have a lot of tropical forests and make us have become part of the land world. I mean, we our forests give advantage benefits to tackle the global warming, which is something I think very beneficial not only for Indonesian people but also for humanity in the world. And yeah, the another question is, what will city be like in the future? Well, what is city be like in the future? I think that the city will become more environmental friendly. I believe that. I mean, environmental issue become the hot news in our daily activities. I mean, we hear about it a lot, whether in the social media or televisions or from the podcasts, and people talk about this a lot, whether students, ordinary people, and mostly scientists and the governments, and it will improve how the policy to make a city become more eco-friendly and people become more aware about this problem. And then so when basically they build a new city in the future, they will think about the impact of the city to environment. I mean, like, probably city in the future will have less private vehicles. There are many people will use public transportation because the roads probably will more integrate than the city we experience today. And also, I think that people try to combines between plantation wildlife like forest into the city. So people, even though they live in the urban areas, they still can walk and enjoy the morning walking through neighborhoods and go into the forest, because the forest and the city, there's no boundaries anymore. This is what I believe about the cities in the future. But of course, I think we only achieve this if we can limit our inequality, which is rampant today, and the gap become wider than before. I think it's the most challenging of humanity today is about inequality, because the rampant of social media is very exaggerates this kind of problem into our society. And if the governments or people who sit on the power don't do anything about it, I think that the clash become crash, and probably many people, I mean a common public, will strike to the streets and try to to improve their life, to they doing this kind of things that probably can harmful to the facilities in the city, like we experience in many cities in the world, like Paris, and also in the cities like Los Angeles, that many robbery and also criminals that doing this not because they want to become a criminal, but the condition of their life. I mean, that force them to do that because they live on the poverty line, but they can experience that the night birds and people probably they meet in the streets live in the very high class which is can't reach anymore. So basically it's very important to to reduce inequality in the society to make the city in the future become better than today. And after the globalization I want to talk about another questions, and this is about the criminal behavior. Well, when we talk about the criminal behavior, it's very recall my memory into the Silence of the Lamb. You probably hear about the movie about Hannibal Lecter. It's very popular not only in the Hollywood but here in Indonesia. The movie is a huge success, right? I mean, it's the Oscar winner, and we mostly people profound about the movie. And I myself love about the about the Silence of the Lambs. Somehow it just feel it's very hard to actualize my feeling, but I mean to express is quite difficult. But I understand this is a great movie, and I enjoy when watching the movie. And I not only watch it for for one time, but a lot of time I watch this movie. And first, the question is: do you think there is a link between drugs and crime? I believe it is, but not really significant. I mean, drugs and crime really link to unemployment and property. I mean, people who burn in the substitute families tend to, to immerse themselves into drugs and then do acts of crimes because they come from disadvantaged background and say they need a lot of money to make themselves become fulfilling, but because the condition of their environment not support what they want, so they tend to use the thing that probably inappropriate from in the term of our society, like doing criminal and doing drugs. And I think for a case like this we can't point our finger into people who use drugs or doing criminal. We need to learn more their background and the reason why this happened. I think it's very wiser. It's quite wiser to us to use this thing than we only to blame them become the black goats and something like that. Yeah, I believe that I didn't answer the question very well, but at least yeah, I hope that everyone who listen when I speaking here understand my point, right? Even though I think that my English very poor, and yeah, I think that if the native itself is very have a hard time to understand what I am saying. But I think the accents is the thing that when we improve, it make our speak become better. And yeah, there's the question about the food and culture. I mean, well, the topic about the foods and culture very common in the IELTS test. I mean, because it's kind of very ordinary conversation between people or individuals in their daily basis life. So basically, this kind of questions so very represented their daily conversation. So I think it's very appropriate usage to the IELTS test. And the question from about food and culture is what are the main difference between Asian and Western foods? What the difference? I mean the ingredients of course, because in the Western they use grains a lot, and in Asian we use rice. But the ingredients and I think also have an impact to the nutrition. I mean it's very hard to say that whether grain is better than rice or the opposites, but I believe that the nutrition that contains in the both of them grains and rice quite different. And when people eat rice and grain regularly, and it can make an impact to their whether they physically mentally or probably their IQ. And also I think that people here in Indonesia, mostly people will live nearby the coast, eat fish a lot. I mean, the fish is contains a lot of protein, which is very great to development of our brain, as particularly for the children who still need that kind of nutrition a lot, and to to develop their problem solving skills and something like that. And I think it's very improved to their Aiki skill. Even though I still believe that Aiki is, it's more about that we learn about, not that something, how you say it. I very hard to recall the concept because I'm already forgot, but I believe that I have a hard time to explain the idea because the idea very complex. Well, I think that is more than 20 minutes already, and yeah, I think I need to stop speak because I have a lot of thing to do. And after this, and the thing what I should do is to complete my story because I want to apply the story into the publishers, and I don't make any progress this day, but I want to do my best. So basically, I can improve that, and then to make myself become a better writer, because you need to consistent to make a good writer and make a good storytelling. And I want to say that thank you for you to listen, and good morning.